Hello, welcome to this session at ZT Horse Skills. So this is me having my second session with a carrot stick, along with Maverick having his second session with a carrot stick. We're both very inexperienced.
So I just pointed out to Moira in the video that Maverick was too close to her. So she's asking him to go back. And I'm asking her to put the slightest bit of pressure on the halter to ask him to go back. And as soon as he starts to think about moving backwards, I ask her to stop.
Putting pressure.
Exactly, just like she did there. So he's less likely to go back now because he's going to the loo. So ask again.
And I'll say I was putting like a whole hand onto the halter to ask him to go back, but in the moment Elizabeth was telling me to put a lot less, like just a little finger touch to it. So I was doing a bit too much.
So Maverick's taking a breather. So I've been asking Moira to keep her feet still a lot more and let Maverick, when he's moving, get to the end of the rope and realise he needs to release the tension himself. I've asked her at this point to move back a bit because we can't see him on the video. So he's going to fill in the gap where she was, no doubt. But she's still not pulling. She's still not asking. So then he gets a bit close. Not too close. Okay, so this session we're going to introduce him again to the carrot stick. So he starts to get a tiny bit too close. And Moira's just organising her rope and her carrot stick. So he's moving around a bit, that's fine. Moira needs to move her feet less. So she's just getting out of the way so that we can see him a bit better without constantly asking him to go back all the time when he's so recently been introduced to it. So now, come back a bit, and as he comes, that's fine, but any closer than that would be too close.
And it would be too close because, at least with the carrot stick, if it's too far back on his body, it'll be like we're asking him to come forward, and so that's why I want him to be at a distance where we can reach the shoulder area.
That's right, yeah. We see that a bit more later on, actually.
Yeah.
We don't want to ask him to go forward. We want him to stand still and recognise that at this point we're just going to use the carrot stick to stroke him and get him used to the feeling of it all over his body. It's also a way that we can handle his hind legs and his feet without getting down there with a hand and getting our head near his hindquarters when we're not in full control. So he keeps coming a bit closer. I think actually this is part of his I'm a young stallion, I'm testing, seeing who's boss in this situation. In the next video, we'll be showing what to do to have a bit more respect, assert ourselves as the leader. But for the moment, we just want to get him confident with having the stick on him, with the lead rope and the halter, and he's starting to feel the restriction around his head. Everything takes time. He needs to get used to everything.
So yeah, I shuffle my feet a lot, but I'll have to learn to stop doing that.
So we need to have an idea that we're a tree. We've got deep roots and we are very steadfast. Horses, when we take on that feeling ourselves, horses appreciate that. They understand that we are a leader, we deserve our position as leader, and they can rely on us. So you can see as you lift the stick now, it's getting slightly too far back.
Yeah.
So what you can do is put your hand further up the stick so it's in the middle.
Yeah, I'm pretty
and
sure I do
just
that later on.
lift the stick a bit less. That's it. It needs to go up to his shoulder because we don't want to mistakenly push him forward and have him run you over.
Yeah.
And the idea is to run the stick back. So he's far more confident with the stick today than he was during the first session. So that's what it's all about. Repetition brings more confidence. Now his temperament is more like his mum's, a bit like his dad's, but more like his mum's. Nectar's temperament is more like his dad's. He's a little bit less sure of the human touch than Nectar. So Moira's practicing approach and retreat with the stick. So Moira's using the stick to get him used to being touched with it. We're going to be using the stick later to move him around, to move his body around. So it's going to be a big thing to him, although he doesn't realise it yet. Later we're going to attach the string to it, maybe a piece of material or a piece of plastic. We're going to be using it to help him go forward, help him understand we want him to go forward, help him understand we want him to go backwards. But we want him to be really happy with the stick on his body. We want to be able to use the stick to let him know that it's time to relax and that we're happy with him. Imagine if he has an itchy spot right at the back there, we can easily go and give him a rub there without having to get our hand there and get our head down, and we can stay out of trouble and stay safe. I think he likes to touch the stick on his nose.
Yeah. Yeah, here I kept having trouble because I wanted to get to his back, but then he'd put his head on it and sort of push it away.
That's right. Later you'll be able to use the stick to push his head around, but he's not at that stage yet. So here we are, we're taking everything in little tiny steps, stage by stage, so that everybody understands exactly what's going on.
Yeah. So notice I go up to his back, but then I come back to his shoulder where I started out.
That's right. Approach and retreat. There's Vaggie. She's had an operation to remove her tendon, which is why she limps. The cat. Of course, now he's interested in the cat. And he wants to go and see the cat. So now he's going to... he hasn't got to the end of the pressure of the rope. So he's learnt something. I don't want to feel the pressure when I get to the end of the rope. So that's great. He's working it out. He knows what to do. He does creep closer. But at this stage it's a good thing because we've only just got him back into being handled after probably 6 months of not being handled.
So yeah, it's good that he has the confidence to come up and
That's
be comfortable.
Right, yeah. So we're trying to balance it. We want him to be respectful, stay back, we want to stay safe, but we want him to feel confident as well. That's why we're not doing everything to keep him back.
Alright, that's the end of this session with Maverick, and we'll be back very soon with the next step in his training, in his next session. Thank you very much for watching, and we hope you learned something. We hope you enjoyed. This was ZT Horse Skills, and we'll see you again soon.